I see Boz sitting with guitar in hand. Hi, thank you for
Hi.
joining us today.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here, and congratulations on a wonderful new record, Some Change.
Thank you. Glad
How
you
long?
like it.
How long were you working on this?
On the album, we started in January of 1993 and finished in December of 1993. So 10 or 11 months with a few well-chosen vacations.
How about the writing process?
It's hard to say. You know, a lot of these songs are ideas that have been floating around for anywhere from a few minutes to a few years, and they come together in bits and pieces. I don't really sit down and just, knock them out. So I don't know. I guess some of the ideas are 4 or 5 years old. Some of them were just spontaneous.
Well, what's nice looking through it is the majority of these songs were written solely by Boz Scaggs. So this is truly your record. And
Probably more than any record that I've ever made, yeah.
And in reading your bio, it says, first and foremost, it's a vehicle for your voice.
Mm-hmm.
And your voice sounds wonderful on
Well,
it.
thanks. Thanks a lot. Yeah, you sort of eliminate a lot of other things when you really think about just trying to make something that fits your voice and your whatever you do. If you're a guitar player, keyboard player, we tend to in these days of a lot of technology, stack a lot of things together. There's a lot of synthesizers and reverbs and beautiful studio facilities that we tend to sort of get enthralled by and forget about what we're really all about. And essentially, I'm a singer and a guitar player and write songs sometimes, and it's hard to keep that out front sometimes, though.
And it seems like that's what we're returning to in the music of 1994.
I think so. Yeah, I think things are very healthy in the '90s in that way. We sort of went through a lot of music with in the '80s, and there was a lot of technology that got us away from singers and songs and the basics.
And it's a return to that. Maybe
think so.
MTV Unplugged, the popularity of that brought it out to the forefront. But that's a lot what this radio station is about, and that's what this album really shows. It shows the talent of the songwriting and of the real music that's there. You've been doing this for a long, long time. You started when you were about 15 with Steve Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And
I started before Steve, but yeah, back then, I have been doing it a long time. I think that most people who have an interest in music probably start showing it, when they're, kids or early teenagers or whatever, and then there are those who find that they can't do anything else in the world and or can't put it aside, and they remain to be called musicians. I'm one of those.
And have the talent to do it.
Talent is part of it, but I think it is the love of music that plays a bigger role sometimes than talent. I think that there are a lot of musicians who are certainly a lot more talented than I am in terms of, but I love music, perhaps more. I don't know. Talent's as someone once said, a cheap commodity. And then there are those who just stick it out and don't know how to do anything else.
And there are those who are modest, because there are those like me who love music but don't have the talent, so I play other people's music on the radio. Boz Scaggs is our guest here at FM 101.9. You're sitting with a guitar, and Scott's over there in front of the keyboard. Would you guys do one for us?
Yeah, sure. I'm joined by Scott Plunkett, a musician extraordinaire, and we're going to we'll do Some Change, the title song off the album.
Great.
Some change comes down for the better. You feel it move. Then some come around like the weather. You take that into. But like some change in your pocket, sometimes it seems to be too little too late. I guess it's time to break out a few pesos, 'cause I'm getting to where I like the view. And if you're feeling lucky, you ain't just passing through. You might change some too. There was a time I was low down for action, red hot as a road, certified guaranteed satisfaction, one happening fool. And I know I was missing the boat, and I know I was missing it by a country mile. So like Noah says, you better wake up. You don't wanna get stuck in this zoo. And then he leaves the dock, he ain't waiting around for you. Be prepared to change some too. Yeah, you. Change comes down for the better. You feel it move. Then some come around like the weather. You take that into. Yeah, you. You take that into. If you're feeling lucky, you might change some too. Some change, some don't. All right.
Boz Scaggs live on FM 101.9. Some Change, the title track from the brand new album with Scott Plunkett on keyboards. Sounded great.
Thanks.
You are playing tomorrow night and Sunday night at House of Blues.
Mhm.
A lot of people very upset because those shows sold out rather quickly, so they won't have the chance to see you. Do you tour very often?
Not so much. It's been a while. I've been off for a while, but we are now. At least we've started out. We started out with some dates in Japan. We were away for about 3.5 weeks, and now we're just doing some quick ones here on the West Coast, and then we'll start playing back east at the first part of September. and we'll see where it goes from there. We hope to be back here before the year's out with maybe some other shows.
I think I remember the last time you did a show here that you were on stage in Southern California. You maybe did something more recently, but I don't think so. It was a special tribute show. It was at the Universal Amphitheater, and it was for Jeff Porcaro. Now, you dedicated this album to Jeff.
I did, yeah. When I started making this record, when I started putting the material together, I called Jeff, and we were doing some demos, and so I was thinking about him. As I was starting this thing, and then he very suddenly passed away, and just the shock of that, I think, left a lot of us since that time thinking a lot about Jeff, and couldn't help through the recording process to think, sort of relate, to bounce it off what Jeff might have done here or there, and I don't know, just his spirit was around, and it's of course troubling that he's not with us, but on the other hand, he gave us all a lot of inspiration, and probably will continue to for a long time.
One of the great rock and roll drummers of all time, I think.
He sure was.
And
great musicians and great guys.
Yeah, I just found out. I spoke to Steve a little while ago, who sends his best, Steve Porcaro.
Steve, his brother.
His brother.
Yeah.
And today is 2 years since Jeff died, which I didn't realize.
It was this weekend sometime.
Yeah. So you did this show with the members of Toto, and Steve Lukather was there, and Eddie Van Halen, and George Harrison at the Universal Amphitheater.
And, Don Henley and Donald Fagen.
Yeah.
It was quite a memorable night.
Real nice tribute.
Yeah.
What will we expect in the show tonight?
We're
tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, on Sunday. We're going to do some things off this new album, and we're going to do some things that people are probably familiar with from hearing me on the radio, some things that were hits, and some things from here and there, but a lot of familiar things, I think, to people who've seen me before and those who've heard me on the radio. Great.
You've written a lot of songs with a lot of partners. Like this album is mostly Boz Scaggs music, but you've written with David Page, going back to the Toto thing again, David Foster, Jim Carroll, Dan and Dave Huff. Do you like writing with partners, or do you prefer?
When I was working here in Los Angeles a lot, I did a lot of collaboration. And generally speaking, I would ally myself with one of the, real strong keyboard player, arranger, writer types, and do an album with him. David Page and I collaborated on the Silk Degrees album, and then David Foster and I worked on the Middleman album, and Michael Omardian and I worked on an album called Down Two Then Left.
And Patrick Leonard you worked with as well?
Yeah, we did. Actually, it was a song that Jeff found that Patrick had recorded. It was a demo that Patrick had made, and then I finished it up. But that was something that Jeff came in. Patrick and I didn't actually work per se, and I'm certainly aware of his work and his talent, but we haven't worked head-to-head, really. But, yeah, there's so many brilliant, and I mean brilliant musicians and musical minds in this town that it seems kind of part of the process to get together with these people, and it's just among the musicians that are available to do sessions with, and the writers and musical geniuses there are around. It's just, to me, that was a big part of being here. Otherwise, you could be anywhere else and do your own thing, but I was always stimulated by the atmosphere around here and all the smart guys.
Pool of talent.
Lots of that, yeah.
Do you still live in San Francisco?
I do, yeah. Have for many years and probably always will.
Will you do another song for us?
Sure. Let's see. Let's do Sierra. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
What about the one who said he loved you? What about the one who said he cared? Don't bother trying to find him way up in the icy air. Oh, you played with his heartstrings, and you played without a care. Not up in the high Sierra. You won't play his heart out there. The angels lay their clouds across his sky. They line up for him every night. Some have wings, others sing, the rest do lazy ballets in the air. There he's got a bird to give him warning, and he's got a lookout too. Beauty of the high Sierra, and she's looking out for you. The angels lay their clouds across the sky. They line up for him every night. Some have wings, others sing, the rest do lazy ballets in the air. What about the one who said he loved you? What about the one who said he cared? He's off in the high Sierra, but don't bother looking there.
That's Sierra, Boz Scaggs, live at FM 101.9. That is a beautiful song.
Thank you.
And, one thought I had while you were playing is it's got that signature Boz Scaggs sound. However, there really is no signature Boz Scaggs sound, because how would you describe your music if someone said, what type of music do you play?
I don't know. I'm always curious because, I know when we talked about making this album, I had talked with friends of mine and my management, and we talked about producers, and I talked with people from Virgin Records, my company, and they said at some point somebody would say, well, just do that kind of that Boz Scaggs kind of sound thing, and I for one split second I thought that I knew what they were talking about. Then I realized that I have no idea what that might be. I mean, I have some idea. There are some elements, but when I look at the body of the work on this album, we really cover a lot of things, cover a lot of musical styles, and I don't know. I've just been following around my voice for all these years, trying to figure out what it is this guy, what he wants to sing. And I like all kinds of music, so it's hard to put a thing on it.
label. Yeah.
Just the voices, I guess.
Well,
What I really got.
it is your voice that stands out, and you hear it. It's like, that is Boz Scaggs. But yeah, you've been, classified as like blues, R&B, blue-eyed soul, however you want to put it.
Well,
And
that's a good part of where I started. That's my first love in music is blues and rhythm and blues. So.
and that bass is definitely there.
Yeah, I mean I grew up in that part of the country, and that's what I learned to play guitar on, and that's really all I do. Everything else is just something off to the side.
I had always thought your first album was the one that came out in 1969. It was called Boz Scaggs.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard that in 1965 you went to Europe and recorded a solo folk album.
That's a nasty rumor. I did that. It wasn't really. Don't go looking for that record, please. And if you've got one,
I think it's worth a lot
burn
of
it.
money if you've got one.
I doubt it.
Well, that's what we were talking about, though, the return to the singer-songwriter thing. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, well, it's happening. Oh, that record? No, it wasn't my own stuff. In fact, it was just stuff that I was playing in clubs at the time, and it was done in one night. And believe me, it's better off wherever it is.
Really? So you don't have a copy of it?
I don't. I don't have one. And, I've seen copies of the cover here and there, but I haven't heard any of the songs on it. I don't miss it. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about it.
All right, we'll move on. In 91, you joined up with Donald Fagen, and you were part of his Rock and Soul Review.
Mm-hmm.
A great album came out of that. Was that a fun thing to do?
Yeah, it was really good, and it came out of I think something that I had wanted to do for some time, and a number of other people have tried to do it. But Donald really carried it off. And in New York, he did various club dates, called it the New York Rock and Soul Review, and it was sort of a big surprise to me to hear about it. That Donald's always been sort of an idol of mine. I consider him one of the real geniuses of our time, and with his work with Steely Dan. And so the fact that he was playing around clubs in New York doing R&B songs was really exciting to me. And I happened to be in town one night when he was doing it, and he featured some real wonderful players. And it so happened that he wanted to take it a little bigger and expand with the idea with some other people, and I got invited to do it. And it was all done with just the spirit of what he did it for originally, which was just to sort of pay tribute to those songs and that era and those musicians and singers, and just for the hell of it, just for the fun of it, just for the love of that music. And it really kept its integrity throughout it all. We did a couple of nights at the Beacon Theater in New York, which were well attended and recorded, and the album got around a fair amount. And we decided to go on the road that summer and play for a few weeks doing that material, and that turned into sort of a reunification with Walter Becker and Donald on stage. And I think gave them confidence to go on and pull Steely Dan out of the hat again. And anyway, Rock and Soul Review was a lot of fun. I hope we get to do it again sometime.
It's a lot of fun to listen to. I love the album.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, like you said, pulling out some of those great songs and having great players such as yourself and Donald and Michael McDonald and Phoebe Snow. And it's, yeah, it sounds like a party.
It was a really for all the right reasons. We love the music.
Right. Well, we love your new album.
Well,
However, we still love your old stuff. And, of course, you did a lot of stuff early on, but it was 1976 and Silk Degrees that brought you the superstardom. And I understand Mike Morrison, our program director, begged you and pleaded with you, please do Lowdown.
Well,
Would you do that for us?
Give that a go.
Great.
Baby's out running around, hanging with the crowd, putting your business in the street and talking out loud, saying you bought her this and that, how much you done spent. I swear she must believe it's all heaven sent. Hey boy, you better bring the woman round to the sad old truth, the dirty lowdown. Ooh, I wonder who put those ideas in her head now. I wonder who. Nothing you can't handle, nothing you ain't got. Put your money on the table and drive it off the lot. Turn on that old love light, turn her maybe to a yes. Same old schoolboy game got you into this mess, yeah. You better come on back around to the sad old truth, the dirty lowdown. Ooh, I wonder who put those ideas in her head, boy. I wonder who. Well, come on back down to earth, boy. To the low down. You ain't got to be so bad, you ain't got to be so cold. This dog-eat-dog existence sure is getting old. You gotta have a Jones for this and a Jones for that. This running with the Joneses, boy, just ain't where it's at, no. You better come on back to town, to the sad, sad truth, the dirty lowdown. Ooh, I wonder who put those ideas in her head now. I wonder who. Look out for that lowdown, that dirty lowdown. I wonder who put those ideas in her head now. We're talking low down now. Ooh, I wonder who. Say, boy, you better get on back downtown now before it all gets away. Well, I wonder who. Don't you know?
Boz Scaggs live on FM 101.9. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming in today.
Thanks. Pleasure being here.
Well, it was our pleasure. The new album is called Some Change and is available in your local record store. I urge you to pick it up because it's really wonderful. You will be appearing tomorrow and Sunday nights at House of Blues. Unfortunately, those shows are sold out. On behalf of everyone who doesn't have tickets, any chance you'll swing back through here on your way back from the East Coast?
Well, I hope so. We'll keep that open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, please do. And if you do, the door is always open here. We'd
that's
love to have
nice.
you come back in.
Glad you're here. There are a lot of people talking about your new station, and seems like a breath of fresh air here.
Great.
So, good luck.
Thanks very much. Good luck to you. I'll see you tomorrow night. I can't
Okay,
wait.
good.
And I figured we'd wrap it up with one off the disc. Fly Like a Bird from Boz Scaggs, Some Change on the new FM 101.9.